On behalf of the Western Boone Student Council and Advisory Board, I would like to welcome everyone to our 2022 Veterans Day program. At this time, please stand for the presentation of our nation's flag, followed by the playing of the national anthem by the Western Boone Band. You may be seated. To honor to our veterans and country, our band and choirs have prepared a special performance. Thank you, Thank you, Mrs. Baker, Miss Gillingham, and all the band and choir students on the wonderful tribute to our nation's armed services. Our speaker today is U.S. Navy veteran Mike Spidell. A lifelong resident of Boone County, Mike graduated from Lebanon Senior High School in 1980 and entered the United States Navy that summer. While in the Navy, he served under the U.D. Dixon submarine as a repair tender, as well as the 588 class Sturgeon fast attack submarine. Mike served 4 years of active military, ultimately earned the rank of IM2 PO rank E5, and has also served 2 years as a reserve. Upon his honorable discharge from the Navy, Mr. Spidell worked for the City of Lebanon Fire Department until his retirement in 2013. He currently serves as the Boone County's Veteran Service Officer and is a paramedic for Witham Health Services in Lebanon.
Thanks for having me. I'd like to say that public speaking is something that I enjoy, but it's really not. So just bear with me a little bit. As he said, 42 years ago, I was right where you're sitting now. I was a senior in high school. At that year, earlier that year, we had an embassy in Tehran, and some crazies captured our delegates over there and held them hostage. And for me, our class president and everybody decided that they would muster a march, and we marched from the school through Lebanon's Park and up downtown, and I just thought that was hollow. I thought, you know what? People over there don't care whether the Lebanon Senior High School is protesting any more than we care about their protest. So I thought, well, I would really like, it really made me angry, and I thought I would really like to do something. So at Christmas time, I went, and another friend of mine that was on the football team with me, we went to 38th Street in Indianapolis, and we joined the Navy on the delayed entry buddy system. So I come home that night, told my mom. She said, "Oh no, you didn't. You go right back over there and tell them that you're not going to do that." I said, "No, I can't." So anyway, she warmed up to it a little bit. 6 days after graduation, I was in boot camp, and don't let them kid you. No, none of the branches of the military boot camp is very fun. None of it. The Marine Corps maybe a little harder because of the weapon stuff they deal with, but it's not designed to be pleasurable. And somehow I muddled through it and was able to navigate that part of it. Then I went to my A school, which was, you don't want to go into any of the branches of the military without some designated school, some designated function that you're supposed to do. Mine was to be a calibration tech. In the military and other parts of business, nothing is taken for granted. Like if a gauge says it reads 60 pounds, they just don't assume that that gauge is accurate. They have a cycle that they take the gauge out of service, they verify the accuracy of it to make sure that it's actually reading what it's reading. And that's kind of what I did in the military. Anything and everything that took a measurement of any kind had to have accuracy verified on it, and that's what I did. I went to the fleet and was assigned to a service vessel, a submarine tender. I was sent to school to work on Mark 37 torpedoes for the 588 class and the 637 class submarines. By the time I got out of school, they weren't using those anymore. They were using Mark 48 torpedoes, so I knew nothing about them. But I did know a little bit about a system that was called an OI-74, and it was a way of measuring differential pressure across a reservoir that pumped little polyresin beads into this big cast that took the radioactivity exposure out of the primary coolant water at the submarine and allowed the crew to be on the sub without receiving exposure. So that's how I got into the submarines. Not that I wanted to be a submarine sailor, I did not, but I was trained on that particular thing, and that's the way it goes. I'm not here to tell you that every part of the military is the greatest thing. It is not. You know, it's a lot easier to look back with fond memories on my military service now that I'm not in the middle of it. Back in the day, there were things that I thought were really cool, but there were a lot of things that I didn't think were cool, you know, and so I only made one delay or overseas deployment, and that was in support of everything that started in the Middle East. It's still going on today, but it started in the early 80s. I was sent to a place called Diego Garcia, which is in the Indian Ocean. It's right off the equator, and it's like 36 hours by ship from the Persian Gulf. So there was a lot of activity, military activity over there. Every time something breaks down, they don't send it all the way back to the United States. They send it to a place where they could fix it or try to fix it. That's what I did. And that's one of the things that wasn't the most of fun. We were on shift work, 12 on, 12 off, 7 days a week for 6 months. And it was just grudging. It wasn't easy work. One of the success stories that I have from that period was I was little, now still not very big, but I was a lot littler then, you know, and I could fit in a hole in one of the ballast tanks on a British submarine. I was able to crawl in there and fix a depth gauge. Similar to what's in a gas tank in a car, there's a float in there that goes up and down as they fill the water up in the tank, and that registers on a gauge. I was able to go in there and figure out what's wrong with it, fixed it. Come back out of there, the engineering officer on the HMS Churchill, which the engineering officer's right next to the captain. He was so happy, came to me and asked, he said, well, what, you know, anything you need. And I said, well, I'd like to have a set of those British dolphins. They wear a thing. When they qualify on the submarine, they wear dolphins. We do too. Ours are different than theirs. Theirs has a crown on it that's got like jewels on it. It was really cool. I said, I'd like to have some of those. So he undid his shirt, took his things off, and gave them to me. And I still have them at home today, treasured. So my message to you today is not to sell the military on anybody. It worked for me. I made it through. I have a lot of fond memories. I gained a lot of friends that I'm still friends with today. But my reason for doing it was a lot different than maybe yours might be. I thought it would be exciting, and it was. College was not in my future. I didn't study that hard in high school, which there's the ticket right there. Get your grades and make yourself eligible for college so that you have a lot of options then. I did not do that. So I didn't really want to work here in Lebanon. After high school, I wanted to do something different. Joined the Navy. So, like he said in my opening, my career after the military was very satisfying as well. Worked at the fire station in Lebanon for 28 years, and I'm still at the hospital. I've been there 35 years as a medic. So find your reason, and don't be afraid to step out and do what you think you should do. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today and for your service, Mr. Spidell. Please join me in watching a special tribute prepared by Mr. Foxworthy in the radio TV class.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Thank you for